the Bay Area's rock station, 107.7 The Bone.
107.7 The Bone. That was the Sword in the Metal Zone. Yay! We actually don't have that song in the studio. We had to like bust it out on the internet, so it was a little fuzzy.
It was awesome.
It was a little less choppy in the studio with me, Jason Newsted. Whereas first you were just going to come in and like bring some CDs and we were just going to play some stuff, but now I'm kind of putting you in the hot seat and forcing you to program the entire show. Is that okay?
That's what I wanted to do. See, you thought it was you doing it to me.
It was a clever mind trick. I have been like mind zapped by Jason Newsted.
Wow, that's right. You shouldn't have messed around. I've been in the studio before.
So, Jason, the new Voivod CD, Infini, am I saying it right?
Yes, Infini.
I heard it's going to be the last Voivod CD. Is that right, or is it just the last song with music from Piggy and contributing?
I hate to say the last one because there is other archival things we'd like to share with people later. But as far as a studio album with the chemistry of Voivod Mark III producing it, you know, I mean, like everybody together writing the songs and that, and the last of Piggy's real guitar. This is it. And
when you say Piggy's real guitar, this isn't just riffs that he wrote. This is actual tracks that he laid down at one point, right?
It's actual his guitar tracks that he recorded on his own onto his computer, and then before we had a chance to all record them for real, so that's what we got to use. But it's all formulated. I mean, he was quite a virtuoso, you know, because him just messing around is good enough to go on an album, so that's where that's at.
Now, who did the Frankenstein work of taking those tracks and then creating around them instead of, because normally it's like you lay down the drums and then you come in with the bass and then the riffs and then the vocals and that kind of thing. It's usually a different process, right?
Yeah, it was quite unorthodox this time because we had the tracks from Piggy on the computer only, so we amp his stuff through his stack in the room, and then Michelle plays the drums to that. So he's ghosting in the room, and Michelle glues it together with no click tracks. And then Snake put the vocal on. They sent it out to me. I went to Fantasy Studio in Berkeley and Frankensteined it. So I put on the bass and other guitars and piano and keyboards and theremin and vocals and all that stuff, and then mixed it, put it together, and that's what you hear now, or going to hear in the next hour.
So was it creepy or was it comforting having his tracks there by him?
We had to do this same process on the 14th album, 14, the last one, as well. So we are kind of used to the creepiness of it, as you call it. It is a little eerie, but this time we embraced it more than being kind of still grieving before. This time we had big pictures of him looming over the console, you know, and that kind of stuff. So he was very much a perfectionist in the studio, and we know that's where he really knew what he wanted when we got in there. He was very much dialed with electronics and technology and things. So we wanted to make sure that we did him justice. And also, it was first a labor of love, and then after that, the real thing of putting an album together like you do.
So you have been picking songs. We started off with Heaven and Hell, Neon Nights, and then Motorhead, Orgasmatron, and The Sword, Freya. Anything you want to say about those artists?
Let's see. Heaven and Hell, that's the teachers, right? That's some of our main teachers coming from Sabbath. And then Motorhead, that's more teachers right there, because you can't go wrong with Lemmy no matter what. You have a special rule about Lemmy that I just learned, you know.
Lemmy is never wrong, and Lemmy can get played anytime, anywhere.
That's an incredible rule. I can't wait to tell him that. He's really going to like that.
See, you know what? The people that listen to the Metal Zone, they have no idea the bizarre rules that I make the show with. So, sorry guys, Jason's just been learning the tragedy that is my head.
I'm doing well, considering.
You really are.
Yeah, The Sword is, like I said, as it finished there, that's kind of the future of metal, as I want to see it anyway, the slabs of stoner metal like that, kind of going back a little retro, but keeping it still very fresh and very alive. That's the stuff.
And we've got Heaven and Hell coming August 10th with Coheed and Cambria at San Jose State Events Center. Tickets for that show are at Ticketmaster.com. What do you think of Heaven and Hell coming out with Coheed and Cambria? It's kind of an odd choice for them, don't you think?
I think
being a new band and not being really in the metal vein.
They're good enough that the people that appreciate the music of Heaven and Hell could probably be turned on to them. You know what I mean? The people that are going to listen to it are going to be open enough to it. So I think they'll be okay.
Fortunately, a lot of the time, rock and roll is just rock and roll. So we are going into Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson going to be playing at the Rockstar Mayhem Tour. That is July 11th at Shoreline Amphitheater. Manson, Slayer, Bullet for My Valentine, Trivium, Cannibal Corpse, All That Remains, God Forbid, Behemoth, Job for a Cowboy, Black Dahlia Murder, Whitechapel.
That's a lot of metal.
Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. This is the new hit on 107.7 The Bone. It's the Metal Zone.
107.7 The Bone.
Streaming online at 1077thebone.com.